Greetings from Boston. My name is Aaron Knapp. Welcome to Tennis Talk Daily. I hope all of you are doing well. We have two things that I want to do today. One is go over the developments in the Monte Carlo Masters. Essentially, we have some quarterfinals teed up now, and I want to tell you about those quarterfinals and the recent round of 16 matches. Second, I wanted to pose the question: who can Fed fans put their faith in the next generation? Is there someone in the next generation that Fed heads, Fed fans can put their faith in to carry on Federer's legacy in a way? I think it's a very important question, and I want to open it up, and I want your views in particular. So that's going to be another item on the list. Again, welcome to the channel. Subscribe to the channel. We need your support, and I love your viewership. I love your comments. I love these discussions that we're getting into. I love the level of the discussions, and basically, as I was saying last time, your tennis IQ impresses me and makes me happy. So it's great to hear from you guys. Subscribe to the channel, give a comment, give the video a thumbs up. So in terms of developments at the Monte Carlo Masters, here's how the round of 16 matches came out. Alexander Zverev defeated Jean-Léonard Struff. David Goffin defeated Roberto Bautista Agut. Grigor Dimitrov again squeaked by Philippe Kohlschreiber. Dominic Thiem defeated Novak Djokovic. More on that in a little bit. Richard Gasquet defeated Misha Zverev. And the Seppi versus Nishikori, is proceeding right now. Milos Raonic had to retire from the tournament, which means that Marin Cilic is going to advance into the quarterfinals without having to play a round of 16 match. That means, and Nadal has prevailed over Khachanov, so that means that Nadal will play Thiem in the quarterfinal, and that has to be the big match. It's the King of Clay versus the Prince of Clay. That's got to be the match that we're all going to be watching very closely, and let me talk a little bit more about that later. There's also going to be Dimitrov versus Goffin in the other quarterfinal. There's a bit of a history there. They've gone back and forth. Goffin's certainly capable of getting the better of Dimitrov, but if Dimitrov's in form, then I probably give him the advantage here. Dimitrov is looking good. He's looking strong. He's looking like he's persevering through these matches and has the sort of willpower to do this, is feeling good enough on clay to be this far. Alexander Zverev will play Richard Gasquet, and then Marin Cilic will play the winner of the Seppi versus Nishikori match. So those are some really good quarterfinals. I'll be watching them all very closely and reporting the results to you. Let me know if you have comments, if you watch one of the matches or you otherwise have comments on these very interesting matches. But let's talk about this other question. Who in the next gen, and we can put it in the context of Monte Carlo, who in the next generation can Fed fans, can Fed heads put their faith in to carry on Federer's legacy? It's such an important question. Is there anybody that we can put our faith in as Fed fans? Well, I wager, I assert to you here that the one quality that's required in any player that we might put our trust in as someone who will carry on Federer's legacy, that player must have a single-handed backhand. That's my proposition to you. Let me know if you think I'm wrong, but that kind of boils it down, doesn't it? Well, it really does boil it down, because we can now look at only a couple of players on in the top 20, folks. There's only 3 players with a one-handed backhand. So it really does narrow down the field. There's only 2 players other than Federer himself. So who are those 2 players? As you probably know, Grigor Dimitrov is one of them, but Dominic Thiem is the other. And I want to open a discussion as to the rivalry with respect to kind of carrying on the Federer legacy between Dimitrov and Thiem. You do have Shapovalov back there with his one-hander too, but he's a little too young, to be honest, to be making any strong predictions about. These other guys do have some more experience behind them. My feeling about the possibilities in terms of the intergenerational possibilities, the possibilities for generations to break through the old guard, to break through Federer. I always think it's going to be the lost generation. They're going to surprise us. That's my feeling, and that has been my assertion for a while. But the team the team factor, as it were, is part of that lost generation threat to the older guys that are right now holding down the fortress pretty well. But we do have something of a critical, maybe even a watershed match coming up in this quarterfinal between Rafael Nadal and Dominic Thiem. This will be interesting. It's the King of Clay versus the Prince of Clay. Thiem, of course, is really the second best clay player on the tour. So this should be the final in a way. This is the cream of the crop, in a sense, coming into this quarterfinal between Nadal and Thiem. So this is going to be a real critical match. Thiem is capable of beating Nadal. Let that much be clear. But I want to suggest to you here also that the thesis that Thiem is the player that can carry on, that we can put our faith in, that hypothesis, as it were, is something I'm very seriously considering. I think now, this is in the context, Thiem just beat Novak Djokovic. Djokovic was playing quite well, and I got to see some more of Dominic Thiem play in this match. And he does have a very impressive game. He uses the court in an impressive way. He's got that amazing backhand. He does have that backswing that poses problems on the faster surfaces. But he's getting a little quicker on that backswing, I think, based on this match today. He has ground strokes on both wings. The forehand is actually probably a little stronger for him, but I love his one-hander. Let me get back to that question about a one-hander. I mean, let's open that. I mean, doesn't the person that carries on Federer's legacy, don't they have to have a one-handed backhand? I mean, isn't that an assumed proposition here? I mean, because you're not going to be able to open up the court in the way that you can with a one-handed when you're wrapping two hands around your backhand. It's very impressive what people have done, Djokovic, Nadal, with the two-hander. There's no question. And the two-hander, to be clear, 17 players in the top 20 use a two-handed backhand. So not as if it's an unpopular shot, or way of doing things, but there are 3 people that have the one-hander. And you know what? All 3 of them are in the top 10. And in fact, all 3 of them are in the top 7. It's Federer, Dimitrov, and then Thiem, who is a world number 7 right now. So that says something, that the one-handers are rising to the top. I really believe that the one-hander is one of the keys to Federer's genius, but it's one of the keys to opening up the whole idea of tennis genius. I don't think you can fully play the game to the extent of human capacity with a two-handed backhand, right? You need the one-hander, you need the reach, you need that full capacity to cover both wings. And I think, and it follows on too with the volleying, and it works together. The players with the one-handed backhands tend to be better all-court players. Now, Thiem is a question mark in that regard. He is not someone that people usually call a all-court player, but he is someone who's got a lot of potential in that regard. So we have this paradox in the end, however, because if Thiem is the person that might be the one, the chosen one, who carries on Federer's legacy, then there's a paradox, because Thiem is this emerging clay court guy. He's possibly poised to topple Nadal tomorrow. Wouldn't that be something if Dominic Thiem could do that? And if Thiem does do that, then I think I'm going to make a Tennis Talk Daily pronouncement that Thiem is our chosen one to carry on Federer's legacy. Because if he's going to do it, if he's going to carry on the legacy, he needs our support and he'll need our faith. Now, I'm not saying we're doing this right now. I'm saying I'm working on this hypothesis, this thesis that Dominic Thiem could be the chosen one that can carry on Federer's legacy. Dimitrov isn't, for one basic reason. He's too close to Federer. It's too close. It's just he's too much of an imitator. Now, he does have his own elements that he's bringing into the game, and I wish him the best. But Thiem has a personality, his own personality. If you haven't watched Dominic Thiem play tennis, go back to that match with Djokovic and watch that match. Watch the highlights. He is something special. But the paradox is this. Could the person who carries on Roger Federer's legacy actually be a clay court specialist? Well, I don't think necessarily that we have to confine Thiem to doing that, but consider this for a second. Consider this. Thiem comes up with clay as his bread and butter, but then expands and then is able to win tournaments later in his 20s on grass and on hard court more. And he becomes an all-surface player, an all-surface champion. Consider that. Well, that could be something special. This is an exciting possibility, don't you think? Give me your comments about this. What do you think? Dominic Thiem, paradoxically, the person that carries on Federer's legacy. Again, you need that one-hander. You can never fully develop a tennis genius wrapping two hands around your backhand. It's not going to work. You must have a one-handed backhand, and that leaves only two players other than Federer. Dimitrov's too close to the model, if you ask me. He doesn't have his own personality, but Thiem has a personality. He's a unique player. Is he the chosen one? Let's talk about this. Exciting times, much more to come on the Monte Carlo Open tomorrow. Let's talk about this. I hope everyone is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.